good afternoon, evening, morning, wherever it is, whatever it is in your location. Thanks for coming. Gonna let a few people come in. I need to turn down the tab on. Oops. I'm hearing myself. There we go. Um, hello, hello, hello. Thank you, Lala, for sharing my stream. I appreciate that. Whoo! I hope you're all doing well. I'm doing pretty good. Those of you who are dog owners know about this phenomenon, and that is where, you've spent all day with your dog and you give your dog all this attention, and then all of a sudden, you're about to go live and they want more attention. They're sitting right there going, give me attention. Yep, that's what's happening to me right now. So, for those of you who are not familiar with my channel, I do commentary on all types of things in the culture and social media. And I do a lot of my commentary on true crime and the culture of true crime because I have a lot of concerns about how true crime cases are covered on social media. Um, and I want to get something out right up front in case any you know true crime viewers go through kind of a cycle, and it's either hello Marcus, and it's either that they are either involved in a true crime and victims of a true crime, and they start watching true crime because they're trying to get answers, and they're frantic for their own situation, or they're just interested in true crime. And so because of, and even the people who are just coming in because they're interested in true crime, they are interested for a while and they cycle in and they cycle out. There are definitely a lot of people who stay interested in true crime for a while, and they even get interested in the drama between true crime creators, and you see them around a lot. But the vast majority of people cycle in and they cycle out. So if you're one of those people who cycle in and they cycle out, or especially if you are involved in a true crime in one way or another as a victim, or being accused of the true crime, hey Amelia, this is for you, okay? And the most important thing I want you to get out of this live stream and this video is to know that YouTubers and social media content creators and sleuthers are the last place to go for help when you're looking for answers on a true crime. Because even though they might be portraying themselves as people who are truly interested in to a certain degree, they are interested in getting answers and finding out information about that true crime. But you know what they're more interested in is figuring out how to create content out of things that may not be content, how to make more content for their channel. And it's really difficult to figure out the differences. And so if a YouTubers or content creators' primary profession, if the main way they make money, or if it's a significant part of their income or their life, is to go on and make content out of true crime, their interests are not really in line with yours. Their interests are more in line with taking whatever bits and pieces they can from a true crime case and making it into content. And at first, they may seem, if a content creator and you get directly in contact and start directly talking to each other, it may seem like they have all the right intentions and they might have a lot to offer. But eventually, it comes to light that they are specifically using you and the case for content. And that goes against the ability to actually solve the crime. And that's the top priority. And in fact, there are some people who are actively engaging in what I have now termed a vulture culture, where they're not only picking apart the case, they're picking it apart well after it's dead, and gone, well after it's really difficult. Hello, welcome to everybody who's coming in. Thank you for joining. Well after there's anything really to be learned on social media from the case. If a content creator on social media is presenting themselves as having the ability to replace anything that law enforcement or a lawyer or a private investigator or a journalist can do, please don't believe them, because it actually does take education, skill, experience to do those jobs. And if the primary job of somebody on YouTube is to make content, and they come to the YouTube experience without any of that background and experience, and they're saying they do, they're actually doing a massive disservice to the case. They may even be obstructing justice on the case. And in many cases, I think they actually do obstruct. And those are the kind of symbols that I put on the thumbnail. The symbols that the people that I put on the thumbnail, they are symbols of going too far. And I'm going to get more into some examples of that and explaining what I'm talking about. But there are many more examples where they came from. They are just symbols of it. These people are good symbols because they do it with so much brazenness, as if they have every right to do it. They go over the top, and it's plain for people to see. And I'm by far not the only person calling it out. So just know, welcome to the stream, Sass and Amelia and Lee, LC and Alexandra and Liz and Marcus. I think I've already said hello, and I think Aunt Lala might be listening. So before I get into that, I want to just show you, really quickly, just to remind you, in case you don't know what a vulture is, this is a vulture. Okay. Get to it here. Wait, where is that? Where is that one? Because I want to play it for a little bit. Is this it? Yeah, I think. Uh-oh, nope, that's not it. There it is. This is what vultures do, okay?
They are disgustingly ugly. They are the ultimate anti-hero. And something about that draws me to them in some sort of weird, morbid fascination. And actually, as I got to know them and started researching them and started to understand them more.
I only put that on the screen for a second because it's a little graphic, right? But what you saw there are vultures. What vultures do is, after an animal is dead, they go in and they pick apart and I'm sorry, trigger warning, whatever. They pick apart the dead animal, the carcass of the dead animal, until there's literally nothing left but the skeleton, right? Now, but here's the thing. Have you ever seen a vulture? Probably not. Most of us have even seen vultures in real life. I haven't. I've just seen them on these channels, like on YouTube. But have you ever seen a vulture fly up to a zebra it's about to eat, with a big hat that says media on it? Vultures are supposed to do what they do. Vultures, it's in their DNA. It's part of the ecosystem. If vultures, in fact, this documentary I just showed a few seconds of is about the coming extinction of the vulture. And right, and vultures will eat. Exactly. They play a very important part in the ecosystem. They're doing what they're supposed to do. But what if these vultures came along and, they came along to eat you, but they were wearing a hat that says media on it, or investigative journalist, or lawyer, or something? And they tried to tell you that I'm here to represent you. I'm here to tell you about the law. I'm here to tell you about how you can maneuver through the legal system. I see that you're part of a true crime right now and you're vulnerable and you need help and you don't have the resources. Well, I'm a person with a YouTube channel who covers true crime and I do investigations and I'm going to help you do that. But what they're really doing is vulturizing that true crime case. They're picking apart every single little piece of that case. So that's what a vulture really is. It's what I mean is a true crime vulture. A true crime vultures. They are vultures masquerading as things that they say that they're things they say they are, but they're not. So I I want to be clear about something before I go on, and that is that I'm not making this video believing or hoping that the people that I'm describing as true crime vultures will change, because I don't think they will. There are certain people in the world where, you know, there's nothing you could say to convince them not to be vultures, not to be users, not to be exploiters. There are people in the world who will never give in to reason. They'll never see their actions on other people as vulturous. They'll see whatever they do as justified for whatever means or whatever for whatever ends that they have. So this is really not to convince them to stop doing what they're doing. It's to convince people not to fall for them when they fly in as vultures, but they wearing a media hat, or saying that they're a welcome Mona Lisa, or saying that they're something that they're not. And it's also to make people aware that the platforms have a complicity in this, because if the platforms didn't exist, if these social media platforms didn't exist as they did, these people wouldn't be able to go out in the real world and pass the application process. If they put in an application with some recruiter or HR representative and said, "Yeah, I'm a media person," they would pretty quickly be sent a rejection letter. Thank you for applying, but no, you don't have the experience, or if they're even given that explanation. Trust me, I've been part of the business world for a very long time. That's how it works. Not only would they look at the background and experience of the person and say, this person has no experience, they don't, why would we hire them? They would look at their social media. Hello, Billy Sunday. They would look at their social media. And so let's say that, one of these true crime vultures said, you know what, I've been doing true crime on my channel. I've been investigating and I've been sleuthing on my channel and I've been reporting on my channel, for a few years now. And I'm going to, and I'm going to apply for a job at CBS News or even my local paper, right? Well, they're going to have to go through the same application process. They're going to have to submit samples of their work. And the minute these legitimate news, no, it's not just you, Lisa, Lee, Elsie. It's by far not just you, by far. So sorry, where was I going with that? I a little bit lost my train of thought. My brain has a tendency to do that sometimes. Let me answer this question. Oh, I know. I was going through the. So if a potential employer looked at the body of work of these YouTubers who are proclaiming to be investigators or journalists or whatever, they would reject them out of hand. But what YouTube and social media gives them the ability to do is say, put a big old hat on their head that has cartoonishly large print on it that says media, and then convince a lot of people, unsuspecting people, viewers who don't know any better, that, and maybe like the personality of the person, that they really can pass as media. And they not only say that they're media, but they then tear down the people who are legitimately in those professions, because it benefits them for the world to look differently at the people in those professions, so that they will look better upon, the fake YouTuber who really isn't in the media but says they are. And so then the public trust gets torn down on the people who are trying to do the legitimate job, and a lot of times they're letting us down in trying to do that legitimate job. Hello, welcome. And leaving everybody confused. So they're doing a grave disservice on multiple levels to the public, to the actual true crime case that they're purporting to want to help, and as I said, the hello Andy Candy, and hello Little Bit, and hello MB Inc. And the platforms are giving them the audience to do it. And there's this notion that there's this incorrect notion that when you have a lot of numbers, when you have a lot of views, when that volume of views means approval, means agreement. That if I have 50,000 subscribers, that every single one of those subscribers agrees with me. No, what it means is that I was able to capture the attention of those 50,000 subscribers. Oh, thank you, Angie's girls. Angel girls. I appreciate that. It means that they were able to grab the attention. And it's a lot easier to grab attention by making stuff up, by being salacious, by resorting to the lowest common denominator. And the lowest common denominator is appealing to people's sense of rage and fear, or, their sense of wanting, salacious gossip. And that's the kind of coverage that we're seeing come out, especially lately with the horrifying case of the Idaho 4. These 4 really children, young adults who were slain. And it's such a horrifying case on a seismic level. And because of that, it, gets a lot of interest and attention. And the vultures are here. The vultures are just here. They're all over it. And they're not only, they're not just covering the case, they are picking it apart, bone by bone, skin by skin, feather by feather. And it's really, really hard to watch. Now, I'm going to talk through some more specific examples and show you some things, but I want to update you on a couple things. So, as I said, the 3 people that I put on my thumbnail are just symbols, and one of those symbols that I've been covering on my channel for a while, because I started covering her in March of 2021 when she first started doing her thing on YouTube. Um, so there's a body of work on my channel covering all the stuff that she's done. In my last video, I talked about her vexatious litigation, and I updated you and I told you that she had sued me for defamation. And literally that's what she put in she represents herself, and when she wrote out her complaint, not only against me but against another YouTuber, and we're going to get to that she titled it that she was suing me for defamation of character. Okay, so in my last video I updated you and told you that she lost that case, that it was dismissed because she wasn't able to prosecute it because she didn't meet simple deadlines. And again, just to remind you, this is a person who goes on her channel night after night and tears apart every single piece of discovery that comes out of a case and makes it sound like she knows how these people, how law enforcement processes these things, how they should be how these things should be looked at. She tries to find holes, and she represents that she has these answers and she's making these connections that nobody can make, but she couldn't make it to a simple court date. Okay, she couldn't spell defamation correctly in 2 complaints in her own legal cases. All right. And not only that, but she has, but there's an update to her scoreboard. We have just recently gotten confirmation. This is her scoreboard that I made for my last video. And as you can see here, she now had, whereas she had 11 losses in my last video, she now has 12 losses. And this counts not only her own court cases against YouTubers, but in the cases that she represents for her nonprofit and the true crime cases that she has covered. Now let's just focus on the YouTube court cases, okay? This is new as of my last, oops. I circled the wrong one, you guys. I'm so sorry. This should be one. The one that I say is new is not new. I'll fix that later, but sorry, you all. It's the one below. So as you may recall, a YouTuber was able to get a permanent stalking order against Truth and Transparency in Colorado. And in my opinion, she turned around, and after saying that if she gets a PPO, then she's going to turn around and get PPOs on everybody else, she went and filed to try to get a protection order against that same person. Well, we now know that she lost that case, and she was not awarded the protection order against the person that has the protection order against her. And it was a very long hearing in Ohio. And, it's really not my story to tell, except to update you and say that she lost. There are still some cases pending, but interestingly, one of the pending cases is LO versus Jays for Justice, the other defamation case. Now, if any of you pay attention to Truth and Transparency and Jays for Justice, you might have noticed that Lana and Jays for Justice have had a rekindling of of whatever it is. And Lana has appeared, TNT has appeared on Jays for Justice channel a few times recently, and they seem to be having a great time with each other. That's great. Whatever agreement they came to is between them. But that goes to show a few things, you guys. It goes to show a few things. Let me take this down for a second. To me, it shows that entire exercise of Truth and Transparency suing people for defamation was for content. Okay? Because when she was suing, when she was promoting and doing her 12 slanderous slays, talking about how she was going to sue all these people for defamation, uh, she went on her channel multiple times to basically turn J is for Justice into the most horrible person known to mankind. She made her sound like the biggest loser on earth. And now they're buddies again. Again, that's between them. But that tells me that this is all for content, in my opinion, right? That's what a vulture does. It does, whatever the means is to the end. The end is what justifies the means. So 2 years ago, when it was beneficial to her to create content out of suing the person that she needed to blame for whatever happened as a result of the Watts case at that time, now it benefits her and potentially both of them. Yeah, exactly, Gwen. Now when it benefits her to team up with that same person, now they're going to team up because, hey, it's content, right? And they're going to do it. Somebody's asking me, can the Idaho 4 family sue her? I don't know if specifically the Idaho 4 families can sue her, but here's what I believe personally. I personally believe that there are a few people in the wide variety of cases that she has covered that have defamation causes against her. Absolutely. There's no question in my mind that there has to be somebody, because I mean, there's too much to put in one video of all the things she has said and done against people who are involved in these true crimes. I mean, there's just too much, absolutely too much. So there's also one more update, kind of minor, slightly petty, but still kind of important point to make on this legal front. As I mentioned, the case against me, the defamation case against me, was dismissed for lack of prosecution. And when she filed this case, she requested, see if I could get, yeah. When she filed this case, she requested for the court fees to be waived because, again, she was representing herself, and there are filing fees. So she filed for indigent status so that she wouldn't have to pay any of those filing fees. Well, now she's being stuck with a $129 bill for, and I think that's pretty low considering, how much time the court probably had to spend dealing with this. But she now has to pay the court $129. And if she doesn't pay within 30 days of the date of this, then she will, then there will be a $10 late fee. So, there are consequences. And if you continue to file vexatious litigation, and even if you file as an indigent and say that you can't afford the filing fee, you will incur a court cost for not prosecuting. You can't just, willy-nilly file claims and not prosecute them and be like, whatever. There is going to be costs. And, when you've got 9 court cases against YouTubers, that starts to add up, right? And especially the time and the energy and all of the stuff that goes into this. Now, as I said before, I'm not just focused on this one creator. There's a number of creators that are acting in this manner, and there are a couple of other people on that thumbnail. The other two are the other two are Bullhorn Betty and Jonathan Lee Riches. And I'm also going to talk about another thing, another one that that is kind of part of the same loosely knit group that did something really just incredibly gross lately. So, and there's something that all of these people have in common. The people on the thumbnail that I put on my thumbnail, they all say that they are journalists or investigators, or, you know, investigative journalists with a lot of legal knowledge while having extensive legal troubles in their background. Okay. So, just to, and also I want to tell you, I by far am not the only person, you know, and there's a couple of channels I want to give them shout outs. One is called Burnt Toast. Hello, Violet. Hello, that Lauren. One is called Burnt Toast, and the other is called Heels in the Air. And I'm sure there are other ones as well. And I'm sorry if I haven't recognized you, but they are doing a really, they're more like, well, Burnt Toast is more, I've just recently been introduced to that channel. It does more live streams and kind of exposés. But Burnt Toast has recently done an excellent expose on Bullhorn Betty. Now, Bullhorn Betty, if you haven't seen Bullhorn Betty, and if you follow true crime for a while, Bullhorn Betty is the, you know, woman who kind of fits the image of her name. The first time I saw her come onto the scene was during the Gabby Petito case, when she showed up with her bullhorn literally in front of Brian Laundrie's parents' house and just started shouting at them. And just started shouting and started, you know, telling them that they're complicit, they should turn themselves in, and blah 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 blah. Well, and then and she's done that on several other cases as well. She did that with the Quentin Simon case. She has shown up on the scene in several cases, shouting down, determining who she believes the suspect is, and demanding that they turn themselves in. But I want to show you something important when it comes to being, and she calls herself an investigative video journalist. But I want to show you something important when it comes to journalism. Okay. Let's see if I have this here. Yeah. So there are 7 principles of journalism. Okay. And I'm going to read this to you. While various codes may differ in the detail of their content and come from different cultural traditions, most share common elements including principles of truthfulness, accuracy, and fact-based communications, independence, objectivity, impartiality, fairness, respect for others, and public accountability. So you are not going to see an investigative journalist run up to a house and become, you know, the house of an accused murderer and call them a murderer and tell them to turn themselves in. That is not their role. Their role is to report on the information and report it as accurately as possible. Now, do we know for sure that the media itself, that the actual legitimate media has its own flaws? Absolutely, because they're human. But to to be so brazen as to say, I'm an investigative journalist, I'm a video journalist, and then to, in people's faces, go completely against the principles of journalism is an insult to our intelligence. It's an insult to our intelligence, and it's wrong. And especially when, if you go to, like I said, I'm going to shout out this channel again, Burnt Toast channel. She did an entire expose. I'm going to just show this one piece. Let's see. Oops, wrong button. Burnt Toast did an expose the other night showing that this Bullhorn Betty has not only a extensive criminal record, but that she was named in a lawsuit against a mortgage firm for fraud, for falsifying documents. Let's see if I got this here. Okay. See if I got it at the right place here. Hold on.
She started, but all of this that we're about to read popped off in like March of 2007. Drazo, thank you. Welcome to the dumpster fire. So this said, this is an official cease and desist from the federal government to the company that she was working for. It says, whereas the director of the Department of Consumer and Business Services for the state of Oregon, hereon the director concluded.
No, a little bit. The alleged vaccination cards was from another creator who once was associated with these with this group of people who tends to go around to different locations and do this thing. But this, I'll put a link to this video. I don't want to. I think you should all just go watch this video that I'm showing on my screen right now. It's from Burnt Toast. I'll put a link in the description. Actually, let me just put a link right here. Yeah, I'll put a link in the description. But it goes through and shows that this Bullhorn Betty falsified documents and was caught doing it. Okay, so go check that out. But also, I mean, she gets herself involved in shenanigans all over YouTube. Just recently, you know, have you ever seen a journalist intentionally go and get people fired from their jobs? Well, that's what this woman does. And again, this is content to her. In my opinion, it's content to her. And then, but they know that it's wrong to make content out of this stuff, so they justify it through other means by saying that they have the right to do this. She actively went and stood with her bullhorn in front of Don Wells. Don Wells is the father of missing Summer Wells, and Don Wells was supposed to meet with Bullhorn Betty and some other people to do an interview, and he kept blowing her off. And I'm not excusing Don Wells' behavior, but what did she do? She went to his place of employment and shouted him down so much that he lost his job. And most recently, and she said she did that because he blew her off. Because he didn't give her that content. Not because Summer Wells is missing and she wants to get answers, but because he blew her off, and that's why he needed to get his job taken away. Okay? So, and recently, in the name of I don't know what, she and her and a YouTube creator partner of hers went into a furniture store and actively prodded her until she came unglued, and that woman lost her job. And you can find all of that covered on another channel called Heels in the Air. It's a clip channel. You can find it all there. I don't want to give airtime to this disgusting behavior, but these are true crime YouTubers who got mad at a Ashley furniture salesman, and decided to broadcast berating this woman and poking and prodding her and taunting her until she showed behavior unbecoming of that company and was fired. Now, I don't know every single tiny little detail. I haven't dove into this situation, but think about why these things are done. They're done for content. And I did watch a pretty disgusting clip of I'm going to say it, Molly Golightly last night, of her saying, you know what, that was just bronze content. It would have been platinum if I was able to get her to hit me. So what she was really doing was trying to get a reaction out of her. She was going to this store to get a reaction for content so that it would be content platinum. That's the vulture culture. Okay? You're taking apart people's lives, you're using people, you're using people's jobs, people's livelihoods, people's true crimes as your content for your gain. Hello, judge and jury. Hello, Anne. Hello, anybody else that I've missed. And sorry if I haven't answered any questions. Sometimes if I look at chat and I am on a roll, I get distracted and I lose my frame of thought. So blah, 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 blah. And here's the thing, Mona Lisa, and I try to say this in as many videos as I can, and show this in as many ways as I can. Our current legal system is not equipped to deal with this, and YouTube won't deal with it. Just won't. I mean, if you think about it, one of the people I'm talking about today has an active stalking injunction against her, by another YouTube creator. I've documented how many times she's doxed people. She's torn people apart. She's torn me apart. She's torn anybody apart who she's decided that she wants to tear apart. And not only has YouTube not done anything about it, they have given her a bigger audience. So YouTube doesn't punish people who do these things. They reward people who do these things. We have to look at the complicity of the social media platforms in this situation. And we can't overlook that. And for those of you who don't know, I'm speaking as somebody who worked at Google at one time, so I'm being critical of an industry where I used to work, that I benefited from greatly. Okay. I have benefited amazingly from working inside the technology industry. I have a great deal of expertise and knowledge from working inside the technology industry. And that knowledge has afforded me the understanding of of the fact that what they're allowing to happen now with the algorithm and this kind of this rage and fear hungry algorithm is harming us, and their inability to enforce their own terms of service is harming us on a global scale. So it's a unique perspective that I have, and it's kind of hard to explain. And I just try to explain it within the context of these situations. Now, I found it sort of humorous that Bullhorn Betty is now now has an entry in the Urban Dictionary, and anybody can write an entry in the Urban Dictionary, but I felt that the entry that was written was pretty apropos, in all honesty. So I'm gonna let you see it. Where is it? Where's that urban? There you are. All right. Let me make that bigger. Bullhorn Betty, an uneducated, loud, obnoxious, self-entitled, victim-shaming tragedy pimp with overprocessed hair. A Bullhorn Betty enjoys long strolls on private property and harassing innocent victims of tragedy for monetary gain and public acknowledgement. A Bullhorn Betty is mostly known for its delusional state of mind and ability to manipulate strangers into financial support, they should have said financial supporting its disgusting behavior. Bullhorn Betties are often found near easements, trash dumpsters, Ashley furniture stores, pro-Trump rallies, and can sometimes be seen on YouTube. So it's, it's kind of humorous. I actually I didn't know that you could make your own Urban Dictionary entries, but congratulations, she made it. Now, let me just make sure I'm not missing anything I wanted to say about that. La 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 la. So before I move on to more information about Jonathan Lee Riches and his background, and again, I would just want to reiterate that all these three people have that I put in these symbols of the vulture culture have something in common, and that is that they, come out and very loudly and boldly proclaim their expertise and how right they are about everything, and they're very quick to go to drop to the legal mat as soon as somebody does something to them. All of them have extensive legal histories of their own, meaning that they have been in trouble legally and they are not on the winning side of the law. Okay, none of them are. So in my mind, it's a big projection. So they have the ability to, because for whatever reason they haven't succeeded legally in the real world, now they're coming on YouTube and acting like they can succeed legally, right? And I guess maybe the worse it was in real life, the bigger you try to pretend it, the bigger you proclaim your greatness is on YouTube, because it's it when you really start to look at their histories, it's crazy. It's crazy how diametrically opposite they are. How much of a failure they've been legally in the real life, and how winning they portray themselves on YouTube, right? And I think there's a lot of people who will overlook, like, if when you come onto YouTube and you're just casually looking at true crime and saying, oh, this looks like a really interesting channel. Oh, wow, this channel seems to be bringing out all kinds of information. Then you start to kind of like the channel host and the way they present things. And, they start to, gain the support and the sympathy of the audience. And just, they have charisma, and they get the support. And because the audience likes them, the audience might be more inclined to overlook it. Yes, Violet, I believe she is. the more inclined the audience is to overlook it when it's clear that they aren't any of those things, or they're absolutely wrong, or when they miss the mark, or when they're doing something completely out of ethics, and they'll overlook it. So I'm really appealing to the people who will think about these things and think about this. Yes, it is a little bit, it's a parasocial relationship, but think about it this way. If you if you were going to bring your Ferrari into a shop, and you were given the choice of whether the 20-year the auto mechanic with 20 years of experience with Ferraris was going to work on it, or the mechanic with 5 years of experience with Chevrolets was going to work on it, wouldn't you choose the one with the experience with the Ferraris? The technical skill and experience of every specific profession should not be overlooked and dismissed. It's actually the height of arrogance to say, oh, I can go on YouTube and pretend like I have the knowledge and capability that somebody has who's been in law enforcement for 20 years, or who's a DA, or who's a journalist for however long. That it's the height of arrogance, and it insults the intelligence of the audience. And for the audience members who do believe it, it actually puts them at a disadvantage later when they're trying to sort through understanding future true crime cases. So again, it's all for content, all for content, all for content. Now I'm going to show you again, as I stated, all three of these people have similar things in common. And I'm going to read to you part of you see that? Yeah. That's probably kind of hard to see. I'm not, wait, maybe I'll try to get that bigger, make that bigger. Yeah, there we go. So see what it says here? Jonathan Lee Riches, born known for litigiousness. Y'all, he is actually known for litigiousness, okay? And he acknowledges this. He acknowledges this himself. So let me, he's a convicted fraudster known for the many lawsuits he has filed in various United States district courts. Riches was incarcerated at Federal Medical Center, Lexington, Kentucky for wire fraud under the terms of a plea bargain. His release date was April 2012, which is incidentally right around the time he started his YouTube channel. He was arrested for violating his federal probation in December 2012 when he left the Eastern District of the state of Pennsylvania without permission. He allegedly drove to Connecticut, impersonated the uncle of Adam Lanza, the shooter in the Sandy Hook elementary school incident. That's the kind of person we're dealing with. Now, are you going to believe that that guy has more integrity and ability to be a journalist, an investigative journalist, than one who has, years of training, years of skill? Or is this guy seeing a new opportunity to put on his impersonation act and become something that he's not, and make money out of it? Well, let's see. Let's show you a little bit of his channel. And just a little side note, true story. So the first time I made a video about Lana Oriani from Truth and Transparency was in March of 2021. It's long gone. She struck it. But in the comments, an account with the name Jonathan Lee Riches came in and said, I'm going to sue you for defamation. Look me up, Google me. I sue people. And I looked him up and I'm like, oh yeah, I guess he sues people, but he can go right ahead. He can go right ahead and sue me for defamation. Because I didn't defam or defame anybody. Oops, wrong one. So this is from his community page on his YouTube channel. And how many journalists do you see? This is what he's saying. The caption says, me, Brian Enton, who is an actual journalist from News Nation, and Law and Crime, right there when Alex Murdaugh arrived for court. So do you understand kind of the humor in this? He's saying, look, I'm a real journalist because I'm standing here with the real journalists and I'm wearing a media hat. Now I'm going to scroll up a little more on his page and show you what I mean. And what this guy does is here's where he talks about how he spent 10 years in federal prison. Nonviolent white-collar crime with no serious prior criminal history. Subjected to the worst conditions imaginable. Proponent of the criminal justice system. So here, he's a real big proponent of if I say it, this makes it true. And he says, if I don't stalk, I investigate. But I'm going to show you in a minute, like the types of things that he puts on his channel. He goes digging around a lot like Lana Oriani does. And they, by the way, shout each other out all the time. And again, like I said, an account with his name commented on my video about her saying he was going to sue me for her. So this is what this guy does is he digs around and and then he takes everything that he sees and makes it into some major legal issue. And Taylor was at the King Road home on January 3rd while she was still Kara Conolder's attorney. Taylor withdrew. And so later you're going to see that he's puts up a petition. He puts up a petition to get her removed. And the other thing he likes to do is go in front of, he's very, very heavy-handed against Dawn and Candace Wells. That case, I don't know how going against Dawn and Candace Wells and constantly tearing apart whatever they're doing is going to find Summer Wells, but okay. I want to get to where he's always going into people's front yards. Do you see journalists who go in front of people's houses and say, look, I'm in front of this tourist attraction being the, here he is. Lindsay Clancy murdered her children in this home right behind me. So is that think about it. Think about whether, this is a horrible case, right? This young woman who is apparently going through something postpartum, don't know, kills her 3 children and then jumps out of her third story window. It's a horrible case. Then this guy wearing a cartoonishly largely printed media on his hat stands in front and goes, look at me, I'm here. I'm in front of the house. So what? Oh, look, I'm in front of the home of Aaron Hernandez, and the spot where this is not a tourist attraction. Now, and this is what his page looks like. He takes pictures and images of victims and accusers, and puts them in kind of, caricatures of themselves, and again vulturizes them. And have you noticed, are any of these people, anybody, as far as these people are concerned, if you get a hat that says media on it, then that makes you media. I'm sorry, it's just not the case. But think about if you are freshly off of finding out that your family member just died, or and was murdered, and it's high profile, and one of these clowns comes around and starts saying that they drank too much, or starts digging up their job record and their medical records, and it's really, really it's incredibly exploitative. It wouldn't feel good, I know that. And not only that, but they're saying that they're doing it to help you. They're not only doing this, but they're saying that they're doing it to help you. I don't know how this helps anybody. And not only that, it harms things. It actively harms things. Now, there was a recent situation with a whole other YouTuber that I believe belongs in this realm. Her name is Mallory. I'd never heard of her before, but she hangs out with this kind of same group of people that go around to different true crime scenes and makes hay. And she stood in front of St. Jude's and asked for super chats. She said, if I don't get super chats, I'm not going to go into St. Jude's with you. I'm not going to take you with me into St. Jude's. She ends up getting the super chats she wants. Now, remember, do you know what St. Jude's is? St. Jude's is a hospital where kids with cancer can go and get treatment for free without having to pay any medical costs. They are going through the worst part of their lives. Okay? They're sick. And this woman is standing in front of the hospital talking about YouTube drama and about how she's if she gets enough super chats, she'll take the stream in with her. So she does inevitably eventually bring the stream in with her, and promptly gets kicked out, and tries to and then starts claiming that she's being racially profiled because she has 2% African American in her. Oh my God. It's grotesque. It's absolutely grotesque. This was recently covered. I know this has been covered on Heels in the Air. Channel named Granny's Watching just covered this extensively, and she had the in my view the right level of indignation and anger about this. I don't want to give that the person who did it any more of a signal boost, but I just want to point out the disgusting behavior. Hello to everybody who's coming in. Hi, Alex. Thanks for being here. Sammy, J Lord, Sandy, Jean, Max. And sorry if I'm not catching all of your comments. I'm just, trying to stay on my roll here. So all this to say that the three people that I have on my thumbnail are prominent symbols of this vulture culture. And there are more, and they're popping out of the woodwork, and YouTube's not doing anything to stop it. And because of that, I'm actually happy to see that there are other channels who are calling this out, and doing a good job of it. But I just encourage more people to just, be on the lookout for it. And, honestly, the best thing you can do um, to stop it is to not give it a view, not support it, not share it, um, not recommend that content. If and again, I'm not going to ever be able to talk the people who do this out of doing it. That's how they are. You can't talk an unreasonable person out of into being reasonable. But what I can do is get to the audience and help them understand what's happening. And I really appreciate that you're saying this. That I saw your chat earlier where you're saying that I helped you to understand this. It was really an awakening to me when I got out of a number of relationships that were, I just felt like my head was spinning all the time. And then I found um honestly YouTube channels and other content on social media that helped explain this kind of toxicity and this manipulation. And you know um it's a thing. And what happens on social media is that social media actively participates in a rewards that behavior. So it appears like it's okay to a lot of people, but it's not okay. It is absolutely just, a lot of people don't really start going against behavior, or really see how damaging behavior can be until it's done to them. I do have the ability to see how something can be harmful when it wasn't done to me. And I just encourage other people to put themselves in other people's shoes. So let me just make sure. They'll always have supporters no matter what. Yeah, exactly. They will always have supporters, and it's okay. And because of the algorithm, they'll end up with more supporters than the people who don't do this stuff, because the algorithm rewards bad behavior. I mean, I'm sorry, that is just the truth of it. I'm sorry. I mean, it is a harsh reality. Anyway, so I think that's really all I wanted to say. Let me make sure I don't have anything else in my notes. Yeah, I might. Thank you, Mary Rose. I might do a future video where I go through some of the comments that were written on my on the past videos that I've done on truth and transparency, because you know what, my comment section, I love my comment section. And to those of you who participate in my comment section, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate I appreciate the intelligence, and I even appreciate when people don't agree with me. I really do. As long as you do it respectfully, I'm fine with being wrong about something, and I'll admit it when I think I am. Just be respectful about it. There's just no freaking reason to be an asshole. There just isn't. Um, and if nothing else, these people who are willing to make content out of anything, they will use any part of any person's life, including their family's murder, out of to make content, and they're willing to accuse other people of being murderers and make it into content, they're not just vultures, they're just fucking assholes. Sorry, that's my opinion. Lastly, I want to extend my heartfelt condolences to all the people in Turkey. There was a massive earthquake there, a massive earthquake. The count of the souls lost keeps going up and up and up, and tragedy, absolute tragedy. And I doubt anybody from Turkey's watching this, but if you are, or anybody who has relatives there or loved ones, I'm so sorry. And it's going to be quite some time before that region is built back up. But so I think that's it. Thank you very much for joining. I'll update you as, things are. Yeah, it is scary, Bogart. I'll update you on things that I think are newsworthy. I don't like to come on here and just tear people apart, and I'm not the type of creator to go back and forth and do drama and stuff like that. I'm here to call out what I think should be called out in terms of helping the audience be aware, not to try to get those people to change, because they're not going to change, unfortunately. Well, I hope you all have a great weekend. Thanks for being here. Thanks for your contributions. And I'll see you around. See you next week, somehow, some way. Oh, please remember to hit the thumbs up. Please remember to hit the thumbs up and consider becoming a member. Why don't you? Thank you. Bye-bye.